Hi, Department 88. Welcome back to the space where faith meets neuroscience and leadership meets joy. I'm your host, Amy Charbonneau, and today we are talking about something that can transform how you lead, how you grow, and how you multiply your impact. The power of mentorship in leadership development. If you've ever wondered why some leaders seem to carry a quiet strength, the kind that steadies a team, inspires confidence, and births new leaders around them, it's not accidental. It's relational. True leadership is multiplied through mentorship. So leadership is not a solo journey. At its core, leadership is about transformation. And transformation does not happen in isolation. It happens through connection. A recent study examined how mentorship impacts leadership growth in early career professionals. What they found was powerful. Mentees who had consistent, meaningful mentorship did not only gain technical skill, they gained confidence, purpose, and resilience. They learned how to lead. Mentorship didn't just teach them what to do, it shaped who they were becoming. And that's what leadership really is, the formation of the inner world that sustains the outer working. There's a biblical blueprint for mentorship. Long before we had leadership theories or professional development programs, God Himself modeled mentorship. And then think about it. Moses had Joshua. Elijah had Elisha. Jesus had the 12. Paul mentored Timothy. In Timothy, he wrote, "And the things you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to faithful people who will be able to teach others also." That's from 2 Timothy 2:2. That, my friends, is leadership multiplication. Every generation of healthy leadership grows because one person chose to pour into another. Mentorship is discipleship in motion. It's the passing of wisdom, faith, and resilience. When I coach leaders today, I often see the same patterns. Breakthrough rarely comes from information alone. It comes from impartation. Someone sees something in you that you have not yet recognized in yourself. And that's the spiritual heartbeat of mentorship. There's neuroscience behind mentorship. Okay, so let's bridge faith with brain science for a minute. When you engage in mentorship, whether you're the mentor or the mentee, your brain lights up in connection-based pathways. This is the power of mirror neurons, the brain's natural way of learning through observation and imitation. Now, when a mentor models confidence, integrity, or peace and calm under pressure, the mentee's brain actually begins to form similar neural patterns. That's why Paul can say, "Imitate me as I imitate Christ" in 1 Corinthians 11:1. Our brains are literally wired to learn by relationship. And here's something beautiful. Mentoring relationships also increase oxytocin, the trust and bonding hormone. So when trust rises, fear decreases. When fear decreases, creativity, joy, and innovation increase. So mentorship is not just good leadership, it's good neuroscience. It rewires the brain toward courage, connection, and joy. The study I mentioned earlier also found that mentees who were mentored across nations, people from different cultures and perspectives, experienced exponential growth. Their creativity expanded, their confidence increased, and they started to see leadership as something global and collaborative rather than hierarchical. That's important because the best leaders don't just hold authority, they build capacity in others. A mentor doesn't create clones, they cultivate originals. And when that happens, when leaders invest in others with humility and vision, joy becomes the atmosphere. People feel seen. They feel safe to grow. They feel part of something bigger than themselves. And that's what I call joy-based leadership. And it's the foundation for lasting influence. So maybe you're asking, what makes a great mentor? Every great mentor carries 3 qualities: presence, perspective, and permission. Let me break it down. Presence means they're emotionally available, not just giving advice, but giving attention. Perspective means they see your potential and help you see beyond the moment. Permission means they empower you to act, to experiment, and to fail forward. Okay, that's how Jesus mentored his disciples. He didn't micromanage them. He empowered them. He sent them out 2 by 2, giving them authority before they felt ready. That's the secret to mentorship, believing in someone enough to release them before perfection. When we mentor with joy, we're not transferring information, we're transferring identity and courage. Now, the mentee's mindset, let's talk about that for a minute, because they need to be in a place of receiving in order to grow. So, mentees, if you want to grow under mentorship, your most important tool is not skill, it's humility. In the mentoring study, participants who saw mentorship as an opportunity to learn, not perform, experienced the most transformation. They asked questions, they initiated conversations, they reflected, and those small acts rewired their mindset toward curiosity instead of comparison. I've seen the same dynamic in leadership coaching. The leaders who grow the fastest are the ones who stay curious. Curiosity keeps the brain open to new possibilities. It literally shifts neural activity from the amygdala, which is where fear resides, to the prefrontal cortex, where you have clarity and creativity. So if you're in a season of being mentored, whether by a person, a coach, or God himself, stay open. Let the process shape you. Mentorship, joy, and the kingdom mindset. When joy enters the mentoring relationship, growth accelerates. This is my word for the year, acceleration. Why? Because joy is the emotion of being delighted in. When someone mentors you with joy, your brain receives that delight as belonging. And belonging is what gives people the confidence to lead boldly. Okay, this is why Nehemiah 8:10 says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Joy strengthens identity. It reminds us we are not alone in our leadership. So whether you're leading a business team or ministry staff, remember this: your joy as a leader multiplies through mentoring. Joy is contagious. And when you mentor from joy, you're not just transferring wisdom, you're transmitting peace. So I want to challenge you today, friends. Who is mentoring you right now? And who are you mentoring? Every leader needs both: a voice that speaks into you and someone you're pouring into. When we lead in both directions, we stay balanced, humble enough to keep learning, confident enough to keep giving. It's the rhythm of healthy leadership. And if you've never had a mentor before, start by asking God to highlight someone who carries the fruit that you want to grow in. Look for someone whose peace, joy, or faith you admire. Then take the brave step to reach out and learn. Remember, mentorship does not require perfection, just presence and intentionality. And if you're listening and you realize it's time for a leadership upgrade, maybe you're leading a team that feels tired, disconnected, or unsure of direction. I would love to help you. Through my Awaken Joy Leadership Coaching Program, I work with leaders who want to integrate neuroscience and faith to create cultures of clarity, confidence, and joy. If that resonates with you, I'd love to offer you a free 15-minute discovery call. We will look at what's blocking joy in your leadership environment and identify 1 or 2 practical shifts that could completely transform your impact and your team's atmosphere. You can schedule at the link in the show notes. Leadership is sacred work. It's the art of guiding hearts, not just managing outcomes. And mentoring is one of the most powerful ways God passes his wisdom from generation to generation. So may you lead with humility, my friend. May you listen with empathy and multiply joy wherever you go, because the joy of the Lord truly is your strength. Until next time, I'm Amy Charbonneau, and this is Department 88 Leadership Edition.